everyone. Hey, welcome to Heart Center Tarot. As always, my name is Marina, and I will be your guide for this portion of the journey. And help me welcome Cleo of Cleo the Seer. Hello, Cleo.
Hi, here we are again.
Here we are again, and welcome to Kitchen Table Issues. So grab your favorite beverage, get comfy. We're about to talk some things. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Yes, happy St. Patrick's Day.
I'm wearing green, and I did find an appropriate.
And I'm not wearing green. It's embarrassing. I'm also Irish, so I should be, but I just couldn't find anything today that was green. I don't have much in green, but hey, in my heart, I'm in the spirit of
that's right. Day. That's right. Absolutely. So yeah, we're good. We're good with that. So yeah, I'm hoping that when my son comes home that he might have some chocolate for me. I didn't ask for it, but I'm hoping that he might he might stop somewhere along the way and say, "Oh, maybe I should get some chocolate from my mom." Like, yeah, that's never going to happen. But hey, listen, I can dream. I can dream. So just quickly want to say hello to Laura and Dawn Turner, Maureen D'Amico, Bunny Young, Wowini, Mimi Nee, Suzanne, Book Bewitched, Butterflies Are Free, Spiritual Garden, Julie Moon, Mary Alice Waters, Debbie Smith, and sorry for your loss, Debbie. I know that was it was probably a very difficult decision. So Arlene Forney, Marie Sutton, Anita Kay. Who else do we have here? I think that might be, I don't think I've missed anyone. And if I missed you, please know that it is never anything personal. Hello, Sherry Voices from the Swamp. And Britta Anderson, Anya Ashdown is here. Kathleen Bourgeois, hello. There, Tiffany Tisdale, Laura Sjazik. There you go. Yeah. So welcome, everyone. So Cleo, what have you been up to?
Just about zero. I've just been kind of busy around the house and stuff, and I haven't been paying enough attention to the headlines and to every single thing that's going on. But I do have something to say about it. We'll get into that.
Yes.
But I will say that on I think it's Friday. Hold on here a minute. Monday. Oh, excuse me. No, Wednesday. Wednesday, I am having a show. It's called Politics in America, and that's my show. And I'm having my sister on with me, and we're going to be talking about politics in America. And this is one of those rare times when on a Friday I don't have anything going on, but that's good because it'll give me a chance to catch up on all the news I've been avoiding.
Yes, absolutely. Totally get that. So yeah, all kinds of things in the news, and just when you thought it was safe to go into the water, it's all kinds of stuff comes up. So I want to start off by just kind of cautioning everyone to take things that you hear and see with a large grain of salt. Know that there are people out there who might pick up on something or might hear something, and they kind of want to warn everyone, so they share the information. That information may not necessarily be right. because there's right now what we are facing is a lot of disinformation, a lot of lies. A lot of bots are operating in every single social media platform to to try to influence things, and it's all designed to keep you fearful and to keep you in that fight or flight mode, right? Where you don't know where something is going to come from, how it's going to hit you, what effect it's going to have. So that keeps you in that the cortisol just increases because you are in that fight or flight state. So just take a deep breath. You can absolutely observe what's going on and just take a moment and think about whether or not it really truly makes sense. And then do a little bit of research, and don't do research in your traditional methods that you would normally do, right? Which is you hear something is happening in the US. Well, maybe I better check with MSNBC or CNN or whatever. No, go to sources that are outside of the country. That's where you're going to find a lot more of that.
Well, and outside
Yeah.
the normal networks, like on
Yeah.
TV and stuff,
Yes.
some of the people that are on here that are giving us factual information on YouTube are not connected to NBC, ABC, Fox,
Yes.
any of those kind of stations.
Yes.
So they are not controlled. The
Yeah.
people on the national networks that you're more familiar with,
Yes.
they are controlled, and there you can just feel it every time they come up with something. It's real low key, nobody's pointing fingers at who, Trump, and
Exactly.
you know and
Yes.
there's so much going on that way. But I love what you said, Marina, because you're absolutely right to just when you see something that just sets you off and you're like, oh no, now this is happening.
Yeah.
For one thing, watch how, and you're already familiar with this, that what is said today changes tomorrow and the next
Yes.
day, the next day, and the
Yeah.
next day. However, but it does just feel very threatening, and that is
Yes.
that's hard to deal with because of course, you're going to have an automatic response when somebody says, "Oh, you may not receive your Social Security next month,"
Yes.
or you may be kicked off of Medicaid because it's not going to be there, or you know what, you got fired from a federal job. Come on back, and so you go back, and they say, "Well, that department does no longer exist."
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
And then you're also seeing all this stuff in court maneuvers that are going on. And I'm wondering why in the world that the Trump administration can go blatantly against a court ruling by a judge who has
Right.
said you can't do this, and then they turn around and do it anyway, but nothing happens to them. You can
Yeah.
bet any other person in the country who doesn't
In the
follow what
world.
tells them, they are screwed.
Yes.
So
Yeah. Yeah. That is there at this point in time. The orange mango moose knuckle, as Don Turner says. Yes. um, he's both he and Elon, and to a great extent, a lot of the people in the Republican Party, they know that their days are numbered. So this is, none of this would be happening if they were secure in their positions. If they were secure in the knowledge that, what, we're untouchable, they can't do anything to us, they wouldn't react the way that they are. And the way that they're reacting is to lash out more, to be more vocal, more entitled, and so on. So there, that's a clear sign that someone is losing their grip, is when they start to get a little more aggressive. and that's what they're doing. So I really do think that they realize their days are numbered, and they are going to start throwing things up against the wall and hoping that people are so distracted that they're not going to um, they're not going to be held accountable for everything that they've done. That they might be held accountable for a few things, but for not everything.
Well, because it's also because Trump and his little minions are above the law in their mind. And why wouldn't he think that? Here's a man with
Yes,
34 felonies, a true
yes,
conviction, and he doesn't have to pay a price for that. He doesn't have to
no,
do anything because he had those, and he also gets to be president. So,
exactly.
but these are all things that are building up that over time, and I know it's going to take years to change some of this stuff, but you can mark my words that in the future, anybody
Yeah.
with a felony, just one felony, it only takes one felony to make you ineligible
Oh,
to run, I would think, for any office, let alone president. But we'll just wait and see. By the way, I wanted to thank Kimberly for she said that I gave her some good advice on a reading that we did on the Cool Crone on Friday.
good.
Thank you so much. I just love that validation, and I'm really glad it helped.
Yeah, absolutely. And oh, okay, Sherry, I feel for you. Um, yeah, she says, I was laid off today. I'm Canadian, but worked for a US company. I'm 61 and was planning to retire at 65. Yeah, due to tariffs. And Sherry, I'll remind you that you are in a much better position than a lot of other people in the fact that you are in Canada. You have been laid off, which means you're going to qualify for employment insurance, and it should kick in fairly quickly. So, there are it's a shock. It's a shock when it happens. Just know that it's um, it's not the end. And of course you're sad. Of course you're sad. This is, you know what, you have devoted a good part of your life. You did nothing wrong. It's one thing when you get laid off, or you're fired from a position that you weren't performing or whatever. When you've done everything that you can and it just comes out of the blue, yeah, it's a gut punch. It really is.
Yeah.
So you know what, you take a few days to just um to just grieve, for lack of a better word, to just grieve that it happened the way that it did. Right? Yeah, you were made redundant. Yeah, yeah.
But I
So
know that some of the people in the United States that have lost their jobs have somehow amazingly gone out and found other jobs. A lot of people have not yet. Um, I do see, I don't have any timeline on this, but I do
yeah,
see things turning around and changing, and those jobs coming back. But
yes,
it's gonna, he's made such a mess, and I'm just so sorry to everybody that's going through this, because
yes,
Trump has made this just massive mess of the economy, and
yes,
it's just it's bad for Canada, it's bad for Mexico, it's bad for Europe, and it's bad for the United States. And he just continues to do this. We are just all hoping and praying that this intel comes through sooner rather than later, and some of this can get stopped,
yeah,
because I don't know how bad it has to. I don't know. I mean, it's getting pretty bad right now. So um,
yes,
I do see
it
some
is.
changes happening rather rapidly. Other psychics do not. They see, they're pushing things out to August. Um, and maybe what I'm talking about is just wishful thinking, but I just feel like there's something coming up sooner. But that doesn't mean that everybody's going to get their job back overnight.
Yeah.
That's the problem, is that when Trump creates this massive mess, it takes a while to untangle it and get it back
Yes.
organized. And so, it just, God, I don't know. I'm just so sorry for everybody that's going through this mess. It's just horrible.
No, I get it. Absolutely. Their fire must be rehired. Oh, Sherry says, hold on. Appellate court passed today that everyone who was illegally fired must be rehired ASAP and that the Trump administration must follow the lower court's ruling.
And I'm glad that that's happening, but Trump
Yeah.
doesn't, so far, you haven't seen him respond to that kind of thing. I did want to mention, on kind of a lighter note, that the Canadian brewery debuted its presidential pack, which contains 1,461 beers, enough for the buyer to have one for each remaining day of the Trump administration. I love that.
Yes.
I hope
Yes.
somebody else ends up with a whole bunch of extra beers, and that the Trump is out of there way, way, way before then. So
Yeah.
anyway, I
Yeah.
just thought I'd mention that.
Yeah. And let me just point out something to you guys. And I know that I generally try to stay positive, and anything and everything that I have received from my guides from the council is all very positive, and it's all very it's delivered to me in a very soothing way. So as I'm contemplating and thinking about all these things, what one of the conversations that I had with the council was, okay, a lot of people have woken up. A lot of people are recognizing that he is not completely there, that there's a lot of really nasty, nasty people that are involved. How long is it going to take before it finally gets through? And what I got was that, yes, people are starting to pay more attention to the difference between what he says and what he does. And the more time that passes, the more that those people are seeing that, when he talked about the other and deporting the illegals and all that, he meant you. He didn't mean someone else. He meant you. So while they are slowly starting to come around, they need to kind of get themselves in that emotional space where they are looking for answers and they are going to demand answers. So the things that are happening right now, that especially things behind the scenes and whatnot, if a lot of the information came out right now, there would still be those Trump supporters who would say, nope, don't believe it. Don't believe it. Never did that. I don't believe it. So a lot of the information and the lesson would be lost. But as we need to remain in that state of patience, that it's going to happen when it is going to be most beneficial for all of us. Then when the information comes out, people are going to be surprised, but they're also going to be able to react in a way that is going to allow them to do something, because they're going to react with a sense of, I knew it. I knew it. That SOB lied to me, and I don't, rather than, oh, no, not my president. I'll go down. He's the best thing that ever happened. So when you look at it from that point of view, it did kind of make sense to me when I heard that. I thought, yeah, okay, we just haven't reached that point yet.
Right. Yeah, totally right. I get the same thing with my guides. And also,
Yes.
I see that when it does come out, it comes out clearly. We are going to see
Yes.
all the evidence, all the
Yes.
documentation. We're going to find out exactly what's been going on behind the scenes that currently
Yes.
we're not aware of. And by the way, I want to say to Sherry Freebury, she
Yes.
said, sorry for being a downer. I'll be okay. Don't be sorry. I mean, you're
No.
not the millions
Yes.
of people are just like totally bummed,
Yeah.
but you really got to keep your energy higher. But
Yes.
I'm glad you said you'll be okay, because you will. But
Yeah.
don't, you're not, you just know that you're not the only one. There's just so
Yeah.
many
You can.
people who are really frustrated right now. But my guides tell me, like you're like your guides,
Yes.
Marina, that it will come to an end. Things will change. Things will get better, and we are going to know what in the world was going on that made no sense, and
Exactly.
why we had to go through all this nonsense. And
Yes.
so the best thing to think about is that it will come to an end. Do we know when that is? No. That's the frustrating part. We
Yes.
just
Yeah.
don't know. I mean, I feel this month has been so kind of, I feel so last week,
Yeah.
totally optimistic. This week, still optimistic, but like, okay, but I didn't hear what I wanted to hear, like over the weekend or whatever. Uh,
Yes.
and they're just saying, chill, Cleo.
Yeah.
It's going to be
Exactly.
okay.
Exactly. Just, we got this.
Yeah.
We got this. You have put your order in with the waiter. The order is in the kitchen. It's not going to happen any faster if you follow the waiter in there and watch the cook as he's doing it and telling him to hurry up because you're hungry. It's going to arrive when it's supposed to.
Yeah.
So
When it's fully cooked.
when it's fully cooked.
And I
Yeah.
feel like that's what we're stuck in that fire. We're stuck on that
Yes.
stove, and we're not fully cooked yet. But
Yes. Yeah. I've seen other tables and they've already got their food. So, I'm thinking it should be here any day. Right. And any minute my food's going to arrive. So yeah, just I know I keep saying be patient, be patient. You cannot control what somebody else does, what somebody else thinks, what they're going to do, so on. The only control that you have is how you react and what you do. So keep yourself positive, keep yourself in the mind frame that, you know what, there I am not here to well, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm not here to be constantly be challenged, right? I am here to succeed. I just have to let go of, wanting to do things on my timeline. It's not my timeline, it's universal timeline. So, yes, Chris Cassidy, when his goose is fully cooked, and I'll tell you, they're taking internal temperature, and we're getting very, very close, very
yeah.
close.
And also, Celtic Seer reminds me, anyway, however, do keep the pressure on your government representatives. Keep
Yes,
those calls coming in. There's a lot of people that have been sending out postcards uh,
yes,
to their, it's not just to, I think they're sending it directly to the White House. Then also, artist Liz talks about the vets, and they
yes,
said that you messed, Trump messed with the wrong group of people. It's
yes,
those kind of protests, it's those kind of people that are speaking up that are making a difference. So if you're part of
yes.
that group and you can do that, go for it, because it is making a difference. It's really, we're starting to see already people saying things that we've been saying for months or a year or longer about, Trump's mental state, and this going after everything out of revenge. I mean,
Yes.
it's
And
just so
that's,
absurd. Even some
yeah.
politicians are questioning things that he's saying and doing. On the other hand, I really think a lot of politicians have been threatened and continue to be, and not just them, but their families. And
Yes.
so they, like they said in the news that Trump is running the country like a mob boss. So that is pretty scary. But the fact that they're finally seeing it that way, that's
Yes.
time to, what are you going to do about that? You need to bring that
Exactly.
person out of there. I know people are worried, well, if they take Trump out, Vance goes in. No, that's not what's going to happen, because Vance is just as much to blame as Trump, as is Musk, as is most Republicans. So
Yes.
yeah, no, they
Yes.
will not be replaced by somebody that's just going to continue doing the same thing.
Yes. And yeah, Mark is absolutely right. Mainstream media did not cover any of the marches.
Yeah, because
It,
they're
it
afraid
was
to.
Yeah, it was crickets. Like what protest? Oh, nothing happened. No, nothing happened. That's
No, they're taking direct orders from Trump on that.
Of course
Trump's
they are.
telling the networks, look, at you have something like, I don't want to
Yeah,
see that on the news. You don't need to be broadcasting that.
yeah.
What you need to be broadcasting is, what a fantastic job I'm doing. And you know what? I won my own golf tournament. What an idiot.
Yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. Exactly. So no, this is his um his decline into total madness is quickly approaching, and entertainment purposes only. You know, what do I know? Um, but so is Elon Musk.
Well,
So
yeah, I
are
mean, isn't that guy a drug addict and stuff? I mean,
Yes.
and he's also autistic or some crazy thing.
Well, he apparently he has Asperger's.
Oh,
Um,
Asperger's.
yeah, which is, I mean, I know people who have Asperger's, and they are very productive, intelligent people. Um, but with all the drugs that he's taken, it's yeah, his whatever is left of the mush that's in the gray cells is pretty much gone. So yeah, he's not he is, for those of you that may not be familiar, the reason that he started to back Trump was because he was legally he was looking at some pretty substantial financial losses, as well as possible jail time, and so on and so forth. And he knew that he had to get behind someone who was going to be able to save his butt. And that's why all of a sudden he came to Trump's aid, right? It was very much a quid pro quo. You look after me, and I'll make sure that you get in power, right? I know this stuff. I can do this. That's what it was. It's an agreement. Anytime that thieves make an agreement, you can't really rely on it working out the way that they thought it was going to work out, because neither one has absolute faith in the other, right? You know that the you are treating that person with the same disgust that they are treating you, while you're smiling and shaking their hand and saying, oh my God, love this guy, just love this guy, right? So each one is waiting for the opportunity to stab the other in the back. Musk at this moment is losing money hand over fist.
Yeah, he's losing some money.
His Yeah, his um he actually earns more money through SpaceX than he does through Tesla. So he wants Tesla to end up paying him more, and he wants to have 25% of the shares in Tesla versus I think, the 12 or something that he has right now. Okay. Tesla is governed by a board of, the directors, shareholders, and so on. So they can get rid of him anytime they want. And he had, in order to buy Twitter, X, he because he doesn't have any money of his own, everything is sort of tied up everywhere. He had to get a loan to buy Twitter, and he used his Tesla shares as collateral. One of the provisions in the loan is that the shares of Tesla must maintain a certain amount. And if it ever decreases to an amount below what it was that the loan people set, now they're no longer looking at having having something of value to back up the loan. Now they're looking at possibly taking a loss. So they put it in that yet I can't remember don't quote me on this, but it's something like, if the shares of Tesla ever went under $220 a share, that it would automatically kick in the, okay, loan is due and payable immediately. Well, I think yesterday the shares were at $221. So he has seen the value of his shares in Tesla drop by more than 50%. Wow. SpaceX. What just happened with SpaceX? They sent up another rocket and it exploded. These are, every time something like that happens, every time that that a Tesla vehicle blows up or catches fire or whatever, it's just less and less and less of breathing room that he has. So, what do you think someone like him is going to do in order to save his skin?
Well, I do know that the Tesla board, the people that are actually running the business and putting the cars together, have written a huge long letter to Trump to beg him to not do what he's doing with the steel, with this 25% tariff, but especially for Canada. And I don't know, if Trump's even considered it, but that is one thing that they're doing. And hopefully other companies are going to start doing the same thing and saying, look what you're doing. You're ruining, you're going to destroy our company because you want to put that high tariff on something that we depend on to make our product. So, Musk is in big trouble money wise, but, and even in Seattle, the Tesla dealerships are being attacked. People are sneaking in there at night and starting cars on fire and spray painting little messages like swastikas and things like that on the cars. And, and the people that are kind of protesting against Tesla, they're not the ones that are actually doing that. As a matter of fact, they're totally against that. A lot of times these are other people's cars that they brought them in to have them serviced or whatever. And, they're totally against people ruining other people's property and that kind of thing, but they can't stop it. That's just how pissed off a bunch of people are with Musk, and they're, a lot of people are selling their cars or in some cases giving their cars away. They don't want them anymore. They don't want to be connected to Tesla at all.
Yes.
Other people are just, some people have just saved and scrimped and really want the Tesla and they finally get it. And, and then somebody spray paints their car or starts their car on fire. So lots of problems with the Tesla thing.
Absolutely. And Celtic Seer is absolutely right in that, Musk didn't invent Tesla. He just bought the company. Just like he is very much like Trump in that, they call themselves, I'm a self-made man. Well, I could be a self-made woman if my father had left me millions and millions of dollars. and said to me when I was 18, "What would you like to do, sweetheart?" And I said, "Oh, well, I'd like to start this kind of business." And he said, "Well, here's 5 million to get you started." That in that definition of self-made, I could be self-made too. So, both of their fathers were in business and had something to give them. So, no, you're not self-made, right? You were you were help-made, right? So, um, the position, I think Elon is going to turn on Trump, and it's going to happen fairly quickly. And I think that he's going to be spilling his what all over all over the prosecutor's office, because there really isn't anything that Elon can he can't really give a whole lot to Trump, right? He can't really do a whole lot for Trump. He's already done what he was hired to do. And again, entertainment purposes only, make no mistake, he was hired to do that, right? So
Well,
now
he's going though for those billions of dollars of contracts. The reason
yes.
Elon Musk is the richest man in the world is because the United States of America made him the richest man in the world.
Yes.
So he's still pushing for new contracts and more money for SpaceX and more money for Tesla. And somebody just asked, and I think I've lost that message right now, but ask about, oh, there it is from Jean Hall. She said, did the multi-million-dollar government contract for Tesla trucks get canceled? You know what? I don't know. I hope so, but I doubt it. I mean, Trump
Yep.
they're just thick as thieves, just like, well, don't worry about it, Elon. I'll give you some more contracts. I can just see that kind of thing happening. So I don't,
Yeah.
but I don't really know. I shouldn't say one way or the other because I do not know. But well, I know when I saw that too, I just like, what the hell? Stop it! Just stop
I
it!
know.
Why are you
I know.
giving this multi-billionaire, damn near a trillionaire, more money from the government? I mean, stop. Just stop doing that. There's a whole bunch of other people out there that could use some money too, and
Yeah.
it's not that guy.
Yep. Yep. Totally. So you know what? Like I said, I think Elon is going to fall first. Trump is going to follow right after that. Elon is going to be able to hand over a lot of information in terms that in order to save his ass, right?
But
Elon
Musk is unfiltered. That's the good thing about this. He is unfiltered. So if he gets put in a corner and somebody starts questioning about exactly what you're doing, why you're doing it, and your connection to Trump and your loyalty to Trump. And by the way, Mr. Musk, you are in trouble. Now, if he sees himself actually being in trouble, that's when he starts singing. That's when he starts turning, because he is unfiltered. He'll be like, oh, well, no, wait a minute. I did this because he did that. And this is what we want to happen.
Exactly. That's exactly what we want to happen. We want someone on the inside to be able to say, okay, yeah, you know what? The election was rigged. This is what I did. I sent so and so into this office, and they put in this code, and they did this and this and this. And you're going to be able to go back and verify it and confirm it. That's what is needed. That is what is going to it's just going to bring a lot of them down, because you've heard me say before, there is no honor among thieves. There is,
I really think the intel on the election interference,
Mm-hmm.
if that is presented to Musk,
Yes.
and he's like, oh shit, there's no answer for this other than something happened that shouldn't have, then yes, he will start singing like a bird. But in the meantime, if he can just kind of avoid the whole thing, and somebody just wrote, Suzanne wrote, justice is coming. Absolutely, it is coming.
It is. Yeah,
It's just
totally.
the timing. It's just the timing. I mean, that's why I guess that's why I can feel more comfortable about all
For
of this,
sure.
is because I know there is an end to it for sure. Have absolutely no doubts. My guides have been telling me this all along, so I
Yes.
can feel good about that. But I don't feel good about how long it's taking, how many people, millions of people are being hurt in the meantime. And, there's all these questions about Social Security, about Medicaid, about
Yeah.
Medicare, that this is really going to hurt the people the old people. Here I am, the old
Yeah,
people,
I know.
the worst. And, that they're talking now about taking away people's Social Security if they feel that they've been overpaid. Well, they do not know how to read the information in the computers of
Yeah.
Social Security. So that's where Elon Musk said, well, there was, people that are 150 years old getting a Social Security check. No, there's never, ever, ever. That has never happened. Those
Yes.
people are in the system because they never received the death certificate. They didn't,
Yes.
obviously there's nobody out there 150 years old, but there has been no way to find out what happened to that person. So
Yes.
it's just all BS. Musk does not know how to read this stuff. He should not have his fingers in it. He is going to screw up that computer system. That's what I'm afraid of, that he's going to screw up the computer system to where when your check's supposed to be sent out, somehow it just that little bit of, somebody replaced a dot with a dash or something, and it just screwed up
Yeah.
the whole thing. And that's all it really takes with computers.
Yeah.
I mean, computer programming is very specific. And if
Yes.
you mess with that and you take
Yeah.
one comma, one dot, one dash out of a program,
Yeah.
just screwed the whole program, and that could end up people not receiving their checks. So,
Or
oh,
at least, you know what? It may delay those things.
it would
But
delay. I mean, yeah,
yes.
we're talking about most people on Social Security are
Yeah.
living month to month. I mean, you're depending on that when that check shows up.
Of
The other
course.
thing they were saying is that there's been some people that have been overpaid. Personally, I know many, many people on Social Security. I've never heard of one of them ever being overpaid, but
Overpaid.
let's say they exist. So what Musk is saying and what Trump is
Yeah.
saying is we're going to make sure that we get paid back. These people took money that was not theirs. So we're
Hmm.
going to not send them a check until the amount of money that they didn't receive pays back the government. And you're going to have to prove that didn't happen, that you were not overpaid. And the
Hmm.
problem with that is they're closing all the Social Security, not all, but a lot of Social
Yeah.
Security offices
Where are you going to go to get the information? Yeah.
to fight it.
Yeah.
And they're not going to
Exactly.
accept certain things over the phone. This is just
Yeah.
absolutely crazy, asinine,
Yeah.
but so dangerous and really could screw
Yeah.
up everything. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're 80 years old and you're waiting for your check and it doesn't come, and then all of a sudden your food benefits are cut as well,
Yeah.
and you can't pay rent and you can't buy food, what the hell happens? People
Yeah.
die. That's what happens. People
Yeah.
die.
Yeah.
Um,
I think looking at the kind of what could be the silver lining around that cloud is that the people remaining and a lot of people that are in a position to actually watch and do something, they've been given the heads up. They're they're watching, they're seeing these things so that should um, should anything happen where they do try to cut things off or they do temporarily stall things or cut it off, that these other people can come in and say, oh no, you don't, we know what you did and we fixed it and you're no longer able to access it or whatever. So
yes, really. So
yeah,
the
that's
Celtic seer said, we all know that Trump and
yeah.
Elon are liars, and they should pay us for all the mayhem that they are creating out of their pockets and their families.
Yes,
They should. They won't.
absolutely.
Um,
No.
But I'm wondering, when push comes to shove and we get things straightened out, I think the government will do what it can to
Jean.
not appease people, but just, and not, and I think I see a huge apology coming to millions of Americans. I also see a huge apology coming to Canada, to Mexico,
Yeah.
and all of Europe. And
Yeah.
by the way,
Yeah.
I think it's
Sorry.
interesting that one of the biggest things that they're so pissed off about is that, well, Canada has taken all of the American liquor off the shelves and just
Yeah.
said, well, okay, yeah, fine, we're done. Forget the tariff. We're just not going to sell your stuff anymore.
Yeah.
I love it that they did that. I
Yeah.
don't see the same thing happening down here in the United States.
No.
But whoever
No.
thought that in my thinking anyway, I just
Yeah.
didn't see anything like that happening, that liquor, that alcohol was going to be such a big
Alcohol.
deal that they're just
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, okay,
Yeah. Kentucky was just almost, yeah, their industry was almost shut down overnight because, yeah, you
because
trying to find
Canada's
a
not
bottle.
ordering.
No, no, it's all it's all in storage. It's all been put away. No, you can't buy it, and nobody wants to buy it.
Nobody
And well, you know what? I had to go pick up a few groceries yesterday. Nothing, not a big trip, but just a few things that I needed to get. And it took me a lot longer than I had anticipated because one of the things that I had to do is as I was picking up items, I'm checking to see where they're made. Where do they originate? And anything that didn't say made in Canada or wasn't highlighted on the shelf as this is a Canadian product, it went back, and trying to find a Canadian substitute for it. Now I'm slowly weaning myself off of the Folgers coffee because it's U.S. made. It's my favorite coffee. I'm going to have to find something else that I can drink. So yeah, we're doing everything that we can to make sure that our reliance is lessened.
Well, and I think the manufacturers of all these products that are we're so dependent on steel, especially steel and aluminum
Yes.
from Canada, and also with the alcohol and stuff. But like you say, they take it off the shelves. They're not ordering from Kentucky distilleries, and
Mhm.
those people are gonna start complaining. So we're gonna see people
Yeah.
across the country complaining
Yeah.
to the Trump administration. What in the hell do you think you're doing? You just
Yeah.
put us out of business. We just
Exactly.
not just our business, but all the employees, all the space that we rent, the bottles that we buy, the labels that it's just everywhere. It just
Yeah.
spreads out, just like we saw with the pandemic. When things
Yes.
have to be made, no more toilet paper. Toilet paper is gonna, I could see that happening again too. Um,
Yes.
all of this stuff is it's really a big deal, and
Yeah.
it's just a
It's
matter.
never just one simple thing. It's you're never just targeting, and saying I'm going to make this one particular segment of society pay. No, it's a ripple effect because everyone depends on someone else, right? So
Yeah,
yeah, it's never just singular.
free enterprise.
Yeah.
It's been very successful for
Yeah.
hundreds of years. But
Yes.
now Trump has put an end to it with his tariffs. It's just,
Yeah.
and it's totally, here's what's so irritating. There's no reason for it. He's not really mad at Canada. Canada never did anything to us. He said they're cheating us. No, no, they're not cheating. Europe is not cheating us.
No.
Mexico is not cheating us. It's not like they did something bad and now we're getting back at them. For one thing, the majority of the country does not even think in those terms. Nobody is thinking, well, I'm going to get back at those guys because I had to spend like a
Yes.
dollar 25 more on something because they
Yeah.
cheated us. No, This is all for taxes. This is all for the billionaire money. And
Yes.
that is what is really maddening about the whole thing. It's just so wrong,
Yes.
so bizarre that is, and this thing about Trump taking over the country and this authoritarian government stuff, it just is not in the end. It's just, they're not going to win. They are going to
No.
lose, and they are going to be held responsible for the mess they have made. But they won't be able to do too much about it because they will be deported, Mr. Musk.
Yes.
You know,
Yes, it probably will be, yeah, tossed out of the country. I think that, just um, before they are tossed out, I do think that their money will be their assets and their money will be seized. I really, really think that that is going to be the outcome. So that, you know what? Yeah, Mr. Musk, we're sending you back to South Africa. No, you're not taking a dollar with you. No, you do not have any properties that you can sell. No, you do not have any bank accounts. There is nothing. You're going back home. And for someone who is as talented and as smart as you are, you go ahead, you make yourself rich again, which he
yeah.
can't do because he's not smart enough to do that. That's what he and Donald do, is they take other people's ideas and they put their name on it. So yeah, it's
Right. Well, to be honest, I don't know that it was exactly happened that way, but I do see that, once he is removed from having this kind of power that shouldn't belong to anybody, that's not an elected official.
yeah,
uh, it's just
yeah,
craziness. I mean, I don't think anybody. I did not see this coming when
yeah,
when Trump got elected. I did see that Musk put a lot of money and time and effort into it, and I thought it all had to do with the billions and billions of dollars of contracts that the government supported to Musk. They
mhm,
just gave him tons of money to do all these things. And but no,
yeah,
it went so much further than that. It was just mind blowing. And then when you see how fast and how it is like
yeah.
a tsunami. I mean, he just has
Yes,
taken over. Trump has taken over all this crap, and he just keeps going. Just like, what was the most recent thing we were just discussing about? Oh, the Biden's pardons.
oh
Oh,
yes,
let's talk about that for a moment.
let's talk about that. Yeah, so Trump has claimed that Biden's pardons that he issued before he left office are not valid in any way, shape, or form, because he did not sign them. They were signed by AutoPen. And besides, Biden had no idea what he was signing. He's so far gone that, people would just bring him things and they would have to explain to him what it was that he was signing so that he could then apparently do the auto pen and sign it. So, he has no idea what he signed. So they are absolutely null, void, no good, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Well, part of that is, yeah, yes, Gene Hall, projection. Yes.
I'm
Is
not quite sure what auto pen is.
I think
I
it's
know I know
probably
that
like
you can get a one of those stamp things with your signature, have that made into a thing. Is that what they're talking about? That you just stamp?
something similar, or yeah, you just, you
And this thing about
it's a computer
Biden,
thing. Yeah.
oh, he also said Biden did it illegally.
Yes.
No, he did not.
Yeah.
No, he did everything correctly. This is not going to work out in Trump's favor at all.
No.
But it's just another thing where he keeps talking about we're doing all this great stuff when he's really ruining the country. He forgets that he's been handed Biden had the country
Yes.
back back on its feet, operating normally, helping people out across the world, and we were doing just fine after such a huge mess from the pandemic.
Yes.
Still, inflation existed, but I mean, had had Biden not done what he did, we wouldn't even be talking. The country wouldn't even be in a position to keep complaining about inflation.
Yeah.
It would have been something totally different. So,
Yes.
yeah, this thing about him not knowing what he's doing. No, of course he knew exactly what he's doing. He's trying to
Much
protect
more so
people.
than Trump.
Yeah, he's trying to protect the people that did the right thing about January 6th. He's trying to protect people like Jack Smith, who I'm sure, I believe personally on a
Yeah.
psychic level, that Jack Smith is very, very busy right now, but you'll not hear about it. He's not looking for accolades on anything like this, but he is
Yeah.
giving everybody the information he has. And so
Yeah.
we all know, and we all know that what Trump has done. We saw it. We
Yes.
saw it. It was right there in front of us. Yes, he
Yeah.
did cause an insurrection. Yes, he did lie about the 2020 election. Yes, he did continue to lie. That's
Yes.
all he's done is lie from 2016 on. One or probably before.
Oh,
One
well before that. Well before. I think he probably the first words out of his mouth as a small child were, not my fault. I didn't do that. So
how is a
yeah.
Sharpie appropriate to signing documents? And that did you
Yeah.
look at those damn Sharpies he's got? That's got his signature in gold on a black Sharpie just for him. Like, God, what an ass.
I know. I know. And the way that he has redone the Oval Office with the beige and the gold leaf and the gold this and the gold that, it's
So
like,
naughty.
dude,
So naughty.
you're not a king. Oh, for God's sake. But yeah, whatever. Yeah, so
Yeah,
he's yeah,
he wants to be the king. Just like, who in the hell has a gold toilet? I guess a king. I mean, that just, you know, whether you're
yeah,
pooping in a regular old white porcelain toilet or you're pooping in a gold toilet,
yeah.
it's the same shit, you know?
Yes. Yes. And yeah, exactly, Teresa. Money does not buy class. No, no. It absolutely does not. So the other thing um, that was kind of in the news today was that he had used the 1798 Wartime Aliens Enemies Act
Oh,
to deport some group of Venezuelans. I think there was like over 400 of them, I think. And they put them on two planes and sent them not to Venezuela, to El Salvador, to one of the mega jails in El Salvador. And the deportations went in front of a judge, and the judge says, no, 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 you can't do that. And the leader of El Salvador, whatever president, whatever he is, he said, oops, sorry, they've already landed, or they're in international airspace. Oops, nothing we can do. So that is very much defying that the judge's order. They should never, ever have left the country until they knew what was going to happen. So the White House has denied that they defied the judge's order. So here's what I'd like to know is how quickly are all of those people going to be returned? And they better be in the same physical condition that they were in when they departed a couple days ago. So are
well,
they
you've already got your answer from the White House. The White House says, no, we didn't. We're not gonna do what the judge says. And I am waiting to see how many times they keep pulling this kind of crap and getting away with it until somebody just says, hell no. then I see the military moving in and saying, you know what, is you're the chief of the head chief of all the
Yes.
Army and the Navy and all the service people. But this is treasonous. To be
Yes.
doing what you're doing is treasonous. And I have said all along, I've said since 2016 that
Yes.
Trump will go down as a treasonous a felon, in this
Yes.
case, a treasonous felon. And that's the kind of thing that will really help move things along when he continues to ignore the courts of the United States. And then when he doesn't like what the court says, and then he tries to get that judge removed from the bench.
Yes.
This is not what
This is what Russia does. This is out of Putin's playbook,
yeah,
not out of a democratic country's playbook.
right.
So, yeah, it's interesting. That's all I can say. Is I feel that it is interesting. I'm every day I feel like we get one step closer to the bottom falling out, one step closer to seeing the downfall of all these people, one step closer to rebuilding the world that we want to live in, a world that is full of compassion and empathy, and where people genuinely care about each other, because we've kind of moved away from that. We've gone from the we into the me culture, and we've been there for a good long time. It's time to get out of that. It's time to go back to we.
Well,
Right.
and I will say that what Trump is bringing up and what Trump's been trying to do, it's not, maybe there is some spending that's gone, maybe there is money that's just kind of flown out the window. We don't know what happened. Maybe there is some things that need to be toned down. Maybe there is some departments that need to be changed, and maybe they do need
Sure.
less employees. It is the way Trump is doing this. It's illegal what he's doing, and he's getting away with it because of the goddamn Supreme Court telling him
Yes.
he could do anything he wanted to. So, definitely these things have got to
Yeah.
change. But I can see, it makes sense that maybe things got a little bit out of control and we want to rein them in a bit, but not like this. It's like
No.
saying, you've had this apartment for 10 years, but you know what? I want you out tomorrow. And I don't
Yes.
have to give you a reason. I just want you out.
Yeah.
Well, we all know that just doesn't happen. There's a lot of rules and laws that help people,
Yes.
for the renters. So there's also a lot of things that help people that are employees, especially
Yes.
federal employees.
Yeah.
But stopping all these different departments and just shutting them down, it's just a terrible, terrible mistake.
Yep.
Right this minute, we haven't really seen just how bad the backlash is going to be. Right now, I mean, I'm more concerned about these federal people that have been lost their jobs.
Yes.
There's so many things like that going on, and then to trick them and say stuff like, "Oh, well, no, the judge said you could come back," and then they come back and said, "Oh, sorry, your job's not available. We don't even have that position open anymore." This is a terrible thing to do to people.
Yes. It is.
When push comes to shove and this mess gets cleared up, we are just going to be begging for forgiveness from Canada, Mexico, and Europe, because this is a terrible thing that has happened. And I hope they know it is not the American people.
Absolutely.
This is not what the people wanted ever. What we wanted was for the inflation to get better, for prices to go down, and it's just the opposite. And not only that, the prices are going to go skyrocketing. And
yes, and you know what? You wanted the same things that we want. We want to be able to live comfortably. on the salaries that we make or the amount of money that we bring in. We don't want to have to, struggle for every little thing. We want to be happy. We want to live a joyous life. That and the world recognizes that there is a big difference between the American people and the American administration. And we I think that as a Canadian, I would see most of you down in the US as being victims as well. You didn't ask for this. You didn't do this. You fought against this. You did everything that you could not to get into this situation. And someone came in and pulled out the rug from under you. No. We absolutely do recognize that there is, this is Trump and his administration and his enablers. They are the ones to blame, and they are the ones that are going to need to atone for what they have done, not the American people. The American people are just victims as well.
I think it's interesting the way they've handled the immigration thing, because even in Washington State, if we go in and say, you can't do this, you can't just jerk this person out of their job or out of their house, put them in a van, take them God knows where, and have them just sit there until you decide and this is happening across our Washington State anyway. I don't know about other states, but across Washington State. And, our governor and our attorney general is saying, no, we're not going to do this. We're a sanctuary city, Seattle. And so what happens? Trump goes after them. They're going after our government in Washington State, because they're saying this is the authoritarian, this is the Trump Putin administration that treats people like this, and they've treated them just horribly. Trump's pissed off that they haven't taken more people. They haven't taken enough immigrants out of there within a 2-month period. It's just it's bizarre. But my heart goes out to these people, because we're talking about people that some people we're not. If they would have just stuck to the people that came here and did illegal things, that would make sense. Yeah, criminals. You got criminals out there. You want to do something with them? Yes, do that. But we're talking about teachers, doctors, the people that have been here for 10, 20 years, maybe longer. Just because you have a name that sounds like you may have come from a different country.
Yeah, or your skin color is a little darker than what is acceptable.
It's shameful. It's absolutely shameful, wrong, immoral, and illegal. And the more people in this city, they are standing up for these immigrants, and they're protesting, and more power to them. I'm so glad they're out there doing that. And I'm so glad that our governor and our attorney general is doing everything they can to bring things to court to fight this the best they can. And I think they're going to win.
Absolutely. Excuse me. Light always wins in the end. So just be patient. Just be patient. But alrighty, you guys. I had a bunch of stuff that we were going to talk about, and we just carried on a conversation like we normally would, sitting around our kitchen table, right?
Exactly.
And that's the best part of it. That's a part that I really enjoy. Is it's lovely to sit back and just kind of trade ideas and thoughts, and know that every one of you, first and foremost, both Cleo and I are very grateful that you are here with us, and appreciate each and every one of you. So I will just quickly remind you to please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Go over to Cleo's channel. I have it in the description of the video. I have the link in there. Make sure that you do the same thing for her. It doesn't cost anything, right? And you just help us get the message out in front of people who want to hear what we have to say. They just don't know where we are. So,
yeah, we haven't applied any tariffs to it either. There's no tariff.
No tariffs. No tax, nothing. So,
Yeah, again, thank you so much for the people that show up in the chat section.
yeah,
You guys are so helpful, and you keep the conversation going for us.
Yeah.
And I'm just glad that you showed up. We're going to be here, in another 2 weeks?
In another 2 weeks. Yes, we will. Absolutely. And I want to say
on a Monday.
Will it be a Monday? I think so.
Okay. Because we're kind of switching. The show used to be on a Thursday, and we're kind of shuffling around, and now we're trying to do it on a Monday at a different time even. So it's 4 o'clock Pacific time, 7 o'clock Eastern time, whatever time Marina's on Canadian time.
Mountain Standard Time. No, we're good. Yeah. So we'll definitely see you back here. And that will be on March the 31st. That's going to put us at 2 weeks. So yeah, March 31st, we'll be back. And I'm sure that by then we're going to have lots and lots of things to talk about.
Oh yeah.
And for those of you that commented on my little fascinator, thank you very much. I did notice your comments were just in the middle of something, so I couldn't respond then. But yeah, thank you. I do this for you.
You look fabulous, Marina. Just fabulous.
So anyway, thank you all for being here. I'll be on again in about 45 minutes with Allie. And it is letting spirit drive. So in the meantime, you guys all take care. And Cleo, it always a pleasure.
Well, I'm having a great time on this show. Thanks for having the show, Marina. This is Marina's show.
There you go. Yeah. All right, everyone, take care for now. Bye.